thousands of you saw that $300 knife epically fail on our channel within minutes. After months of planning, the Challenger has arrived. Better steel, new design, can this deliver the goods? Hello YouTube, it is Chris here, and in today's episode we are going to be doing a full test and review of the $300 Forever knife. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new episodes or our daily giveaways. And make sure you smash that notification button so you don't miss anything. Also, we have a new round of our Amazon gift card giveaways, and to enter, you must be a subscriber and share this video using the YouTube tools in the watch page below. We also pick winners in the very next episode, so if you enter on this particular giveaway, you'll find out who the winner is on the very next episode. For those of you guys who follow us regularly on social media, you guys, a lot of you guys, I think over 111,000 people saw this $300 Forever knife drastically fail. It failed in fantastic fashion. And a lot of people pointed out right away, which was some flaws and things that we noticed right away, is because of the hard lines that are in this design feature right here, with it kind of almost being a perfect rectangle. Metal doesn't like hard lines, so you need to go a little bit softer, and the choice for the steel being 440C for this particular model wasn't a horrible choice, and I still stand behind that. It's not an awful steel. 440C is not bad, but something like A2, D2, 5160, things like that would be much better. Because this thing didn't kind of have a brace in there, this whole handle, these little notches right here had to basically take the full leverage of all of that stress without having any bracing support right here. And one other thing that we noticed that we weren't massively fond of is there was a lot of damage due to these drill holes for the magnetic handle scales. And while we were doing some work with it, we noticed the handle scales would kind of dislodge under any type of hard work. After months and months and months of redesigning and learning a better understanding of making knives, I want you guys to keep in mind, this was his very first design and very first knife. And I think for his very first knife, it was actually a pretty bold design innovation, trying to incorporate some pretty new technologies that really haven't been mainstream or really seen before in a knife or a survival knife of any kind. Now, after about 100,000 people see your knife and a Kickstarter drastically fail, most companies, including myself, I don't even know 100% that I would have the cojones to do it, would probably tell that YouTuber or another person to kind of F off, to be totally freaking honest. But this guy took it as a challenge, and that spoke volumes to his integrity and willpower to become a better knife maker. He didn't like the video, obviously. I don't think anyone in the right mind would. But because he was such a fresh-faced knife maker, he really wanted to dedicate himself to be much better. And he knew he could be better. And it's shown, if you follow him on Instagram, his knife designs are getting really cool. And things that he's learned from professional knife makers and some of the input that we put in from our original video and the comments that were left in that video. And we're going to link that original video right about here. And you guys can go check that out. So this is the new knife. You can see that it is a little bit different in its design. He will make a Tanto version if you so choose. But he did one thing right off the rip that would impress me greatly. He actually changed the steel to D2 tool steel. It's designed for die casting to actually make other things like knives and different tools. Steel that was an excellent choice in my opinion. It also has a really good job of edge holding, and this thing is no exception. I feel he did a really good job of really giving this a nice robust tip, and the overall recurve on the design is going to make it a pretty decent, very light duty slicer and cutter. But if you absolutely needed this as a survival knife, it could fill the role of a very light duty chopper. Drastically different internals. We see a lot of these softer rounded off corners, but also they put in a support beam. However, he truly believed in the design of magnetic handle scales, and he sought to find a way to make it better. Now, the fact that he put a crossguard right in here, he could actually reinforce those two magnets with another stronger medium magnet. And that thing, when it locks in, it actually locks in really good. I like the fact that if you need to get to the survival kit items that we'll go over in a minute, it's still pretty easy to get into, but while you're using this knife to do any type of light duty chopping, you're doing any tour work with it, or you're actually doing some batoning to process some tinder in unfavorable conditions such as we did it while it was actively raining outside. Now, the handle scales, I could say, are a little bit thick, but it's designed to hold the cavity for the survival knife. However, there's absolutely no hot spots whatsoever. You can see I'm white knuckling that pretty aggressively, and it felt comfortable to use the whole time. The jimping is not too aggressive. We really like this knife, and as you guys will see in all the footage that we have been overlaying this entire time, this knife performed admirably. I was extremely impressed and very proud of the leaps and bounds Nolan, the knife maker, actually made for his company Forever Knives so freaking quickly. So diving into the components and the internals, like I said, the ferro rod keeps wanting to come out. So like I said, he put more magnets and these actual kind of struts that are in here to actually support that knife and make the foundation of the handles a little bit stronger are actually a lot better. Now the components that are in here is we have a wire saw, a mini ferro rod, we have 2 fat packs, some water purification tablets, and a ceramic striker by WAZOO survival gear. Now these are all the components laid out. There's not a bunch of components, but it's still really good. Now you saw my son actually make a full-on bow saw with the WAZOO survival gear wire saw a few months back, and let me tell you what, this wire saw has grit. This thing is a tough little bugger, and this will also obviously expound upon the usability of your tools in the field when you find yourself in a situation where all you have is a knife and you may not be as fully equipped as you would like to be. For this being a very small ferro rod, it did get the job done. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt, not gonna lie. It's a much smaller thing. If you're in freezing hypothermic conditions, you're probably gonna want a bigger fire steel because you're probably gonna lose some feeling in your fingertips and you're not gonna have as much of a tactile gross motor skills because you're in cold conditions or in the possibility of being injured. But to kind of expound on the possibility of being injured, they also have these first aid tender packs from WAZOO. These things are amazing. If you find yourself in an unfavorable condition, we have 2 water purification tablets all bundled up right here. So you've got yourself kind of squared away in a basics setup to kind of put yourself in a slightly better position than you did before. Now, because of the fact that they kind of had to bridge the cavity right here to actually give this knife structural support, and the fact that he did much softer curved lines on that was awesome. But as you can see, that's the reason why the handle scales are a little bit thicker. It's because they are trying to support the deeper cavity for the handle scales that support the survival gear that's built inside. Now, not only were there major design improvements, design changes, and materials changes on this particular knife, but the price drastically dropped. I know a lot of you guys saw that this original design was $300 for 440C. However, this particular knife with the Kydex sheath and the survival gear tools that come with it, I think he said something about $200 to $225 for a custom handmade knife, which I think is vastly within the realm of reasonability considering the fact of the major design improvements. And if you were intrigued by the design but you were kind of disappointed in the overall reliability, I can say through our extensive testing we did in very wet, unfavorable conditions, we were able to get a fire started and this knife held its own. And I'm really glad that Nolan, the knife maker of Forever Knives, actually never gave up. He kind of just gritted his teeth, got right back to work, and 5 or 6 months later, we got presented with an awesome freaking new knife that I actually like. This kind of gives me a very futuristic, almost kind of apocalyptic vibe. It won't float everyone's boat. There'll be plenty of people that'll drop down in the comments and say the knife looks stupid, but there will be a lot of people that kind of appreciate it. For me, I like the guard. If I had to use this in a self-defense situation, I could be very confident with that guard as an aesthetic appeal, but also it kind of gives an overall flowing, aggressified look to the aesthetic downward angle, the nice drop point, clip point design, and all of the lightning holes that were kind of thrown into this knife. Even if you don't agree with the style, it kind of flows together pretty well. The winner of yesterday's Amazon gift card giveaway is Darren Keaton. Congratulations, Darren Keaton, you are the winner. So definitely contact the back end of our channel so we can get your contact details. But in conclusion, we really like this knife, and we definitely want to know what you guys think about the actual integrity and willpower of Nolan from Forever Knives, who actually just, in the face of absolute, what I would dare call humiliation, the fact that he bucked the hell up and got this knife redesigned and changed and made himself a much better knife maker and didn't hold a grudge in one way, shape, or form. I was incredibly impressed by his overall professionalism in the face of basically utter failure. And if you enjoyed the full revamp, overhaul, and retest of this survival knife by Forever Knives, definitely give this video a big thumbs up and share this out with your friends and family in your social media networks so we can keep growing, thriving, and making awesome videos for you guys. But that just about does it for now. Hope you guys have an absolute wonderful day. I'm out.